The original derp cannon within World of Tanks is back today in today's video, and of course we are looking at the Tier 9 light tank from the American line, the T-49, which is of course one of the original derp cannons that is in World of Tanks, with a 152mm main armament capable of dealing 910 damage with one shell, providing it does actually manage to pen. And that is the key thing with this vehicle, is that it only has 85mm of penetration with the premium HE, which yeah, I mean, you just basically have to fire if you want to make this as good as it can possibly be, because not only does it get more penetration, but it also gets a bigger splash radius, and obviously that means you can deal more damage if you don't manage to pen with this thing, since you're splashing into the opponent's tank a little bit more, and even if you miss tanks you can still deal damage to them. So let's have a look at how the T-49 actually plays, the setup that we've actually got, and of course why you want to be using the derp cannon in this tank, even though the other gun is probably a lot more consistent with this vehicle. But either way, we are of course running this with gun stabilizer. We need as much accuracy as possible with this tank because it is a derp cannon. It does not have good accuracy, 0.47 with a commander and with the vertical stabilizers. So the best possible accuracy you can get is 0.47, so it's awful. I mean literally awful. But combine that with the fact that you can go 65 kilometers an hour and the bloom being horrendous when you're doing that, yeah, this tank is not very accurate at all when moving, which is probably quite a balancing feature. This is back when Wargaming actually made balanced tanks. And so, yeah, having a huge alpha damage gun with terrible accuracy and horrible dispersion when moving, so accuracy when moving, yeah, makes this tank pretty well balanced, other than when you can get up behind people, which we may or may not see in the games that we're going to be coming up within the next couple of games. So, equipment wise, yes, we have gone with vertical stabilizers or gun stabilizer, whatever you want to call it. They've changed the name since update 6.0, which is, yeah, over 2.5 years ago now. But we're running it with improved ventilation. This is going to boost our accuracy just slightly because we've got all of the crew perks in this tank to be able to improve accuracy, because we want steady aim. And in fact, I would highly recommend you actually use the accuracy whilst on the move, which is run and gun. Of course, we didn't optimally set up this tank 100%. So yes, you would be able to improve your accuracy slightly when on the move. But we're running this as a light tank. Of course, silent driving doesn't work on light tanks because you don't get any negative factor when you're actually moving, so you don't need this perk. So I would 100% swap it for run and gun. And of course, snapshot would also be nice to have in this tank if I was running it specifically for this vehicle. But of course, all my crews are set up as a generic setup for light tanks or medium tanks or whatever tank I want to basically swap it to. So yeah, either way, we can of course then run full premium consumables, as we want to make sure that we are min-maxed. When you're playing a tank that is relying on every aspect to get lucky within the game, you want to make sure every aspect that you can improve is improved, because yeah, this tank trying to do really well with this tank with the derp is slightly harder than if you are using the smaller gun, which as we said earlier is the more competitive probably for the most part than the big one. But you know, you don't play a tank like this to use a small gun on it. Now other than that, what other statistics does this tank have? Well, it has your typical view range, pretty decent. It has 10 degrees of gun depression, so nice to poke over a ridgeline. Damage per minute of this vehicle, 3,340, which for a light tank at tier 9 with such a massive gun isn't actually bad. A 16-second reload total, and we'll be seeing that used within the next two games, and we've talked a lot about these games, so let's jump in there. So the first game that we start off with is of course on Nomonhan, and this map is a pretty decent one for a light tank like this, and we're going to be playing it as a more aggressive light tank where we can push in towards the latest stages of the game. And the T-49 is one that you want to keep alive, so don't just YOLO in at the beginning if you are wanting to use the derp cannon. Now, you do want to be able to get into a position early enough that keeps you safe, but of course you can counter the enemy light tanks, because remember, when you've only got 85 pen, that is more than enough for most light tanks in the game, but probably not enough for the heavy tanks. So you want to get in there first, find out where the light tanks are, deal with them, and then move forward. And we're going to get insanely lucky within this game. This is probably the the funnier of the two replays, but the next one being just as interesting for you guys to have a look at. But yeah, it should be a pretty interesting one for sure. So we get into this location right here, and essentially just seeing if anyone's going to make a misplay by going through the middle, and doesn't appear like they are going to. But the good thing about this tank is you don't have to, you know, do as much damage. You can play it a little bit more passively at the beginning, which is what we want to do. We want to make sure that the enemy tanks are going to get the upper hand in this middle stages. So instead, what we do is just camp on that little ridge, see if anything makes a misplay, and they don't seem to do it, but that's okay. We can push in now, considering we found out kind of where the enemy team are going to be, and we actually move up to this rock over here. Now from here we can spot people who are going to make a cross, as well as spot people in the center and maybe even on the opposite ridge, depending on yeah, how lucky we get. But enemy light tank here is looking like they're trying to make a play, and then uh-oh, a 45 TP is making his play, and oh, 430 damage, and we didn't even pen that guy. Yeah, that is one of the benefits of playing a tank like this. And of course you can do that consistently with this tank, is that it is just so powerful with that big alpha that even when you don't pen, you can deal with stupid amounts of damage. And it's the reason why I just absolutely despise HE firing tanks, because you don't even have to aim at weak points to do ridiculous amounts of damage. We try and go for a little lucky shot on the Centurion. You never know, we may hit him, and you never know, we may even pen him, because I've seen far slimmer shots on the move being hit by the T49. But so far, not a great game. I mean, we've barely done any assistance, we've barely done any damage, and of course, as soon as we fire, the Senjutsu on the enemy team actually gets spotted, and oh, what am I trying to do here? Trying to mount the curbs. Oh, the HE firing T95 tries to go after me. He's obviously feeling a little bit hurt that, you know, we've got more alpha than him as a tier 9 tank destroyer with a 15cm. He's feeling, you know, barrel issues, and maybe we'll come and revisit him later on in this game. But with nothing really happening over here, I'm going to go after this WZ132, who, there we go, the first pen of the game, and this is where the countering of enemy light tanks comes in quite nicely. He's obviously triggered that we've managed to hit him, and so I'm just going to circle around this rock, doing ring around the rosy until we're fully reloaded, and then the WZ132 decides to try and find someone else, obviously completely forgetting about the fact that we do have the ability to reload. And yeah, thank you very much. The Senjutsu then hits me again. Yep, was not expecting to get hit there, but we move and move pretty quickly, because this tank's power to weight ratio is pretty good, and so you don't feel too bad when you do manage to have to stop and then get back up to top speed. So a bit of a lucky escape there against the enemy tank there. Then we hit the Centurion in the side. Unfortunately, it has a load of spaced armor, or tracks as I like to call them, and that absorbed most of the HE damage that we dealt. But you know, 300 damage from a barely aimed shot is nothing to be ashamed of. Now, the Senjutsu on the enemy team is pushing. We've got a light tank as well, the LTG. Now, I was tempted to go in after the LTG, but I'm thinking it's probably not worth just YOLOing in at this point, and so we want to keep our, you know, wits about us and not throw away the hit points that we've already thrown away. And so, yeah, we're just waiting, see if they make a misplay. The Senjutsu actually makes a move. Can we spot him? And of course, we don't actually spot him until he spots us, and then we miss him for 223. Yeah, hit the floor next to him for 223, and uh-oh, this is looking rather peak. Yeah, the enemy Centurion is now in a position to just farm us up. We're trying to get a few shots of damage, and then I decide, you know what? Hello there, Emil. Looks like you're having a fun day today. What about now? And then, no, we got rammed by the Emil one, and oh god, it's just basically curtains at this point, surely. Surely it's curtains at this point. No? No, not curtains? No, not curtains. what about now? Oh, surely now, having not penned the LTG. Wait, what? We survived? I guess this is case in point as to idiots get lucky, my mantra for playing World of Tanks. And so yeah, we managed to come away alive from literally YOLOing an Emil 1, not penning him, and then chasing around an LTG playing Ring Around the Rosie, whilst also avoiding a Centurion 7/1 who was apparently not able to hit him. And we also got the team to help us out here. But don't worry, because idiots do also make idiot plays, and we're about to make one. You might want to move, you idiot. Yeah, not the best play I've made, I can safely say, but I felt bad for the T95. I'd like to say that was actually in purpose to at least make the T95 feel a little bit better about the fact he's just been penned in the backside for more damage than he can ever hope to actually deal in one shot, even with the biggest gun he has. And so, yeah, we managed to get thrown into the abysmal depths of the World of Tanks garage, and yeah, our team end up winning this, no surprise, but still picking up 4,100 damage, 961 assistance, with the Object 257 having a little bit of trouble with this T95, along with the T30 auto-aiming on the move. Yeah, please don't do what I did, guys, against this T95, and there you go. It ends the game right there and then. With 16 pens, or 16 damaging hits I should say, and a victory in a game where I definitely shouldn't have done what I did, but there you go, picking up a decent result, and yeah, hopefully that was an interesting one to start off with, and it only continues in the next game. And that next game starts on Pearl River, which is a map that I quite enjoy, and mainly because typically the light tanks on the enemy team are going to go in the middle. And what happens when the light tanks go in the middle? Well, if you're fast enough, you can catch the light tanks going into the middle, and when you have the alpha damage that we have in this game, being, you know, 700 when you're using the heat rounds with 146 pen, or slightly more when you're using the heat rounds. Ooh. If we had HE, that guy probably would be dead right now, but either way, a nice little fire to start this game with, and picking up a decent amount of damage. Now, obviously, my bot brain didn't realise that, yes, using heat rounds against light tanks that you can pen quite easily was a bad idea, but it makes this one all the more interesting as we ram the EBR. Yeah, lovely to see, and then for dramatic effect, land straight on top of him, making it all that much better. So I love doing stuff like this. It doesn't always yield the best results. Obviously, jumping on people and ramming them when you don't need to using the wrong ammunition type is not optimal, I can tell you that for free. But it makes for some interesting plays, and at the end of the day, you've got to play for enjoyment sometimes rather than trying to min-max, because although, you know, it's fun to dominate opponents by just outplaying them all of the time, or, you know, trying to do better or improving yourself, sometimes you lose track of the fact that, yeah, you're just ending up getting annoyed doing that all the time and being so critical of yourself. Sometimes you have to enjoy it, which is what I always sometimes do, especially when I'm streaming. It's always fun to kind of just chill out for a bit and not have to focus entirely and just play tanks like this, which, you know, even if you focus entirely, you can get yeah, should we say shafted sometimes. So yeah, we're going to see if we can land a shot on the Progetto here by the looks of things, and yeah, decide against that, and instead we're going to try and push down. Now there's a heavy tank over to my left, which I'm hoping I can get a free shot onto in a second, and get a free shot into. We do attempt. Now he appears like he's pushing towards the medium tank on our team, and I don't think he quite realises that we're behind him, and pays the 691 health toll for doing so. So he now tries to turn around, and instead of sitting there and waiting for him to do that, I'm going to leave, and then our teammate comes down and yeah, finishes him off. So I bet he had loads of fun that game. But either way, we've picked up 2,600 damage so far, and let's see if we can pick up a little bit more, maybe even against this Progetto who we were trying to pixel poke earlier. Now, I am obviously having troubles with the controls. After 8 years of playing this game, I still don't quite have full control of my vehicle. There's a surprise. And then, yeah, we get a little bit lucky against the Progetto 54 there, setting him on fire. Seems like we are the king of fire within this game, having set 2 tanks on fire, which is nice. Now I do try and poke over to see if we can get a shot, but I don't stay there for too long. There is a Centauro who's looking over this side. I don't want to get hit, especially when we've only got 1,000 hit points left. And remember, as I always say, keeping your hit points in light tanks till the end of the game is what you want to do. Now I'm attempting to go up on the ridge. Can we do it? And yes, we can. This is stuff you can use. Make sure that you go sideways on a hill and kind of wiggle a little bit as you go up. We try and get a little shot onto the Centauro here. Don't manage to do it, but he's now looking directly at us rather than the teammate who's about to push him in the side. And maybe our teammate can get a bit of damage. Apparently not. But either way, he then just finally hits him, and at this point we can get those HE rounds loaded, ready for the 910 damage that we're about to give this Centauro from the back. Oh wait, not the back, the side. 975 damage done. He's obviously triggered at me, but don't worry, he doesn't get the satisfaction of being able to hit me here. And we pick up 4,360 damage so far. And there appears to be a little Progetto lying around in wait over here. So, ooh. No, that wasn't. No. Game. That wasn't meant to happen. Come on. Okay, we miss. We didn't fully aim. I'm not that surprised. It would have been nice to get it though. And so, yes, that was the product of what you do get with this tank sometimes, so be aware that it's not all fun and games sometimes, and you will miss shots that you were hoping you'd hit, so fully aiming is almost a necessity when playing a tank like this. But having got a little bit of assistance on the Carnarvon that we spotted, who's pushing along an open field in his very slow heavy tank in a bottom tier game, probably not the best idea. But we can push towards this Sturmtiger. And given that it's a Sturmtiger, it's the king of derps at tier 10. And in fact, the biggest gun in the game, if we don't count artillery, and even then it might even have the highest. And guess it sucks to suck being a Sturmtiger. We managed to deal damage to him, and he doesn't even deal any damage to us. I'm thinking he might not have been firing HE at all, or just managed to miss the ground somewhere. And yeah, giving a little nudge to show him who's boss. Now, I'm not sure where this final heavy tank is. We have no idea. He could be in the centre, and I'm hoping he is, so we can surprise him. Or maybe he's going to be moving towards the cap circle, like you'd expect from a player that is trying to win. And no, he's actually in the middle. We then see if we can jump over. Maybe we can get a shot into the back of him. Oh, he gets absolutely clubbed by the 50B. So no more damage in this game, but 4,449 damage done with a little bit of assistance, making this a very enjoyable game. And in fact, one of the more interesting tanks I've played in the last couple of months. And in fact, I think you guys can probably tell it's actually just a ton of fun, even if you don't do as good as these games, because trust me, you can have some absolutely horrors of games when you're playing in this tank if you don't manage to hit, or you just get unlucky, or you overcommit and you miss a shot that you were hoping to pen. But either way, hopefully that gives you an idea as to a really amazing fun tank that I think everyone should try and play within the game. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you did, and I'll see you in one of these videos if you're interested in seeing more.